Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we have an amazing problem for you guys where we're going to be talking about contains duplicates, right? So this is a very good problem. So let's see what it's all about, right? So it says given an integer array nums, right? Return true if any value appears at least twice in the array, right? And return false if every element is distinct, okay? So pretty simple prompt statement, right? They're telling us to check if this array contains duplicates, right? It contains duplicates if there's a number that appears twice, right? Any number that appears twice, then we return true, right? If there's no duplicates, then return false, okay? So the example is given to us, right? We could easily see that we have an array given to us, and we could see there's a number that has a dupe, right? So that's why we're returning true, right? True because there's a duplicate right there, right? And the second example, right? It's this it return false because we could visually see that there's no duplicates right there, so it kind of makes sense a little bit, right? And for this one, we could see a lot of duplicates, right? A bunch of dupes right there, another one right there, right? And this one, and there's so many duplicates, right? So this one will return true right away, okay? So hopefully the prompt statement kind of makes sense, right? So let's see now how can we go ahead and solve it, guys, right? It's easy to do it ourselves, right? Just visually look at it and you could easily find dupes, right? But the array can be really big, right? We can be dealing with maybe like a large array, right? So it wouldn't be as easy to spot, right? So we need to write a computer program to kind of help us and be able to efficiently solve this particular problem, guys, right? So now how do we go ahead and solve it? That's what we do, right? So as you guys know on this channel, we always start off with the most obvious and intuitive solution, right? Non-clever, just easy, just based off of tuition, right? So brute force essentially. Okay, so let's go to my drawing board, guys, right? So we could kind of brainstorm together a little bit, right? So how can we go ahead and solve this, guys? So let's see. We could start with brute force. So brute force would be to have two nested for loops, right? And for each index, right, we check for the remainder of the array to see if there's any number that equal that particular number, right? And if there exists a number that in the rest of the array, right, that has that number, then we go, right? So pretty much it will be here, and therefore we check if there's any number that's equal to 1. Yes, there is a number that equal to 1, right? So because of that, we will return there's a dupe in it, right? Because if we end up finding that number, right? Okay, but that will give us a time complexity, guys, right, of n squared, guys, right? So it would not be too good, right? So maybe we can improve it a little bit better, right? So where can we improve on? Okay, maybe instead of having two for loops, right, maybe one for loop, right? Maybe what we can do is so the array is not sorted, right? Because they didn't mention that, so it's not sorted. Okay, so maybe we can sort it ourselves, right? And by sorting it ourselves, right, we would get an array like that, right? 1, 1, 2, 3, right? So the array sorted now, right? And then we just do a loop, right? A linear loop, right? I mean, right? And if we find any number that's adjacent, like for any number, right? If we find any number that's adjacent to it, that's equal to it, right? Because it's sorted, right? We could easily find if a number has a duplicate, right? So we would check for one, we check the next index, right? We see, does it equal to 1, right? If it is, right, and then we automatically return true, that's a duplicate, right? So we could see that this would help us, right? But it would not be n over n, right? Because, no linear for loop, right? But before we did the linear for loop, we had to sort it, guys, right? Which is gonna cost us n log n, guys, right? So that's not too bueno. Okay, so we have to kind of be more clever than that, right? Because the sorting is gonna cost us n log n, so we have to improve, guys. So how do we improve though, right? Is that the best we could do? Let me think this through, guys. How can we go ahead and solve it? Maybe we can kind of introduce some kind of a data structure, right, to kind of help us and maybe helping us to remember things that we've seen before, right? So we've done other problems kind of similar to this where we have to use some kind of a data structure to help let us know if we've seen a particular thing before, particular state, particular number, particular whatever it is, right? I'm saying, to help us to know that, right? So the data structure of choice, right? We should be ringing a bell right now, which is the set, guys. We're gonna be using a set, so it's gonna help us and knowing, right? So as we loop through, right, we'll do a linear loop, right, through the array, right? And as we're looping through, guys, right, we will be adding every number for each index, where we'll add that number to the data structure, right? Okay. So now, data structure, could imagine it looks like that, right? So we add one, right? We'll go to one, and then we go next, we add two, right? Then we add three, right? And then, right, we encounter this number, right? Before we add the number, right, we'll be asking the data structure, does it contain that number already, right? If it does contain that number already, then we can automatically say, there's a duplicate right there, guys, right? So that's why we automatically, as soon as we find that dupe, we just return true, right? There's a duplicate, right? So now our time complexity, guys, right, has been reduced, right, to O of n, right? But our space now has also increased, guys, right, from to O of n as well, right? So it's a kind of trade-off that you need to do. The interviewer might want to say, all right, cool, let's use constant space, but let's use the sorting one, right? Or so there's a lot of different ways to solve this particular problem. So that's why it's a very good problem to kind of do, right, as a beginner, right? So let's go into the code. I think the code will be a lot more simpler, right? So let's go ahead, guys, right? So we agreed that we'll be starting off, we'll be using a set, guys, right, to kind of help us in knowing the numbers that we've seen before, okay? And we're going to be doing a linear loop through the array, guys, right? Okay. And we check, guys, right, every time. Does it contain the number, right, that we're on? If it contains, then we return true, guys, right away. If not, right, we just simply add that number to the set, right, so that future numbers can reference it, right, and to see if it's already been added, right? Okay. If we never hit this condition, right, and we went through all the numbers, then this must mean that there are no dupes, right? We can be confident in saying that. Okay. Let's press run code. I told you guys the code will be even more simpler than the walkthrough. Okay. Let's press submit. Awesome, guys. We were able to pass all the test cases, guys, right? If you guys found value, you guys enjoyed this video, let me know that in the comment section, right? If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, because I'll be doing a lot of other videos just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.